Good morning, everyone. As you know, tomorrow the state and the diocese goes into new recommendations and guidelines for the wearing of masks in public and public places. And the wearing of masks are optional for attending Mass on beginning tomorrow. Some of you are already there. A couple of comments about that. First of all, that my expectation is that everyone respect each other's decision to wear a mask or not to wear a mask. I don't want people being like little school kids that I've heard about that are going, nah, you have to wear the mask. Your dad makes you wear the mask. I don't have to wear the mask. I don't want you acting like school children. I expect you to respect each other's decision regarding the wearing of masks at Mass. We published the guidelines from the diocese in the bulletin last weekend, or it's in this week's ends, I'm not sure. And one of the suggestions was to, maybe designate a section in church for people who want to wear masks and a section who don't. I'm not going to do that. To me, that's paramount to dividing the church into red states and blue states. So I don't think we need to see that division in church. So, but again, please respect everyone's decision. Also, we will continue, the Eucharistic ministers, priests, deacons will wear the mask when we distribute communion. And also, we made an adaptation to the diocese asking people who were wishing to receive communion on the tongue to come last. We tried that a few weeks way back when it was first suggested or recommended, and it was disastrous. People climbing over other people, ushers not knowing when the last people who wanted to receive communion in the hand were done, and it was somewhat chaotic. So therefore, we are keeping in place the procedure that we initiated as an adaptation. So that means those who wish to receive communion in the hand and not from somebody, one of the priests or the deacons or the seminarians are the only ones who will distribute communion on the tongue. So if you don't want to receive communion from someone who may have given somebody communion on the tongue and you're the 10th person in line behind or whatever, always go to one of the lay ministers. However, please be aware that the priests, deacons, and seminarians who will distribute communion on the tongue will have one of these. They're called a purificator. Before we go out to distribute communion, these are saturated in sanitizer so that we hold it in the communion vessel. If somebody goes to communion on the tongue, we wipe our fingers on this sanitizing cloth. Okay, so much for all that. Well, my days are truly numbered, 123 to be exact. If any of you are on any of OLM's electronic platforms, you already now know that my successor has been named. Bishop Hicks has named Father Michael Kearney to be my successor, effective July 1st of this year. This is on the parish apps and platforms and all that. But in case you haven't seen it, I'll just give you a little info about Father Michael. Father Michael is 41 years old. He has been a priest for 6 years. He grew up in Naperville and graduated from the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana, receiving a degree, a general engineering degree concentrated in control theory robotics. Sounds like a good pastor, huh? After he graduated from college, he actually became a Focus campus minister for 7 years. You may remember that Father Mark, before he went to the seminary, was a Focus campus minister. He did that 7 years before he went to seminary. He was ordained in 2016. His first assignment was at Visitation Parish in Elmhurst, 3 years as parochial vicars. And then he was asked to serve in seminary formation at St. John Vianney Minor Seminary in St. Paul, Minnesota. That's where he's at now. So he will be here the weekend of March 18th, 19th, 20th, introduce himself, and then you won't see him again until July 1st because he goes back to the seminary. He's here that weekend during the spring break of the seminary. So please do not inundate him with requests that we don't like the way Father Don does this or that. Instead, inundate him with your love and support, okay? You can talk to him about all that when he gets here. So I do now know what it feels like to be a lame duck pastor or politician. So just be aware that if you come to me with some complaint or concern or like that, I'm likely to say to you, why don't you take that up with the new pastor when he gets here? Or Father James. It'd be good training for him to become a pastor. Anyway, I do ask you to support and him in prayer. And there. So, finally, as I mentioned last week, this is Commitment Sunday for the Diocesan Annual Appeal. And first we'll hear a recorded message from Bishop Hicks.
As baptized Christians, as missionary disciples, as Catholics, we are called to put our faith into action. We are called to do the works of the Lord. And every time we do something for the least of our brothers and sisters, we are doing it for Jesus. In today's second reading, St. Paul reminds us that when we do the works of the Lord, we are to be firm, steadfast, and always fully devoted. Those are great words, firm, steadfast, and always fully devoted. Just a quick question. If you had to give some words that were the exact opposite of firm, steadfast, and always fully devoted, what would they be? Here are my answers. The opposite of firm is weak. The opposite of steadfast is inconsistent. And the opposite of always fully devoted is fickle. So when we do the works of the Lord, our desire is to be firm, steadfast, and always fully devoted, instead of being weak, inconsistent, and fickle. Let me give you an example. Think of your favorite sports team. Since we just ended the football season, let's use football for this example. How many of you would want your favorite football team to approach each game by being weak, inconsistent, and fickle? No one wants a team like that. How many games would they win with that attitude? We want our favorite teams to win. We want them to take the field every time, every game, with a resolve of being firm, steadfast, and always fully devoted. As we launch this year's Catholic Ministries Appeal, I invite you to reflect on all the ways that we are doing the works of the Lord through our ministries here in the Diocese of Joliet. We help those who are hungry, homeless, or in need of getting back on their feet. We provide guidance to men and women discerning vocations, and also formation and education for seminarians preparing to serve as our future priests. We educate children and help them to grow in Catholic identity in our Catholic schools and religious education programs. We support and spread the faith with our Hispanic and ethnic ministries. We promote ways to help guide and form our youth and our young adults. Our church here in the Diocese of Joliet is doing the works of the Lord in ways that are firm, steadfast, and always devoted. Last year, so many of you increased your donations to the Catholic Ministries Annual Appeal. Words cannot express how grateful I am for your generosity. If you are in the financial position to contribute to this appeal, and you are able, I encourage you to give what you gave last year or even increase your donation. Or if you've never had the opportunity to support this appeal, I welcome you to consider a gift if you have not done so before. In other words, I hope that everyone will give in a way that is firm, steadfast, and always fully devoted. Together, we can do so much good. If because of the ongoing pandemic or because of other circumstances, you are not able to contribute to this annual appeal, please do not think that I'm looking at you as being weak, inconsistent, or fickle. No, not at all. Instead, know of my prayers for you and for your needs. We are a church who wants to catechize, evangelize, and put our faith into action. We want to know Jesus, love Jesus, and do the works of Jesus. In my short time as your new bishop, I have come to learn and see that you are good people, and you want to do good things in the church and in the world. For as the gospel tells us today, a good person, out of the goodness of their heart, produces good. With goodwill and good intentions, please join me in praying for the success of this Catholic Ministries Annual Appeal, so that we can be firm, steadfast, and always fully devoted to the works of the Lord. Thank you for all your support, faith, and generosity. And may God bless you today and always.